Going on. Well, I'm Danielle Lee, hashtag it didn't crush me, and I am here with my beautiful friend Heather Nye Norris, friend and business partner. Um, and we want to talk a little bit to you today about the fact that your body's trying to tell you something, and are you listening? And even if you're listening, do you have any idea how you can possibly tell? And so, one of the things that we've been diving into in my book club, Good Energy, which I highly recommend, just good for your own personal health journey, knowledge, background, is kind of wearable tech and how it lets you know what's going on inside your body. But what you hear me talking about and Heather talking about a lot is another way to find out at home how you can take your health to the next level by doing an at-home dry blood spot test. So, Heather, we're actually going to have her take a little at-home test today. Why don't you explain a little background about what this particular dry blood spot test is and walk everyone through it? Because this is just going to be short and quick.
Absolutely. So we have three dry blood spot tests that we offer. Last time, if you go back and find the old live that we did a few days ago, I think it was, we talk about the balance test, which measures the ratio between your omega-6 and your omega-3 in your blood. And we also talked about how when you're looking for nutritional intake, a dry blood spot test is going to be the better option because it's going to measure really what it's measuring the red blood cell. So what you have ingested over the last 120 days versus a plasma test, which is only going to show what you've been doing in the last 24 hours or so. So dried blood spot testing is really where you want to start with that.
And if you really want validation, you can ask any of the healthcare providers. They know that that's where it is. The life of your red blood cells is 120 days, and that is why the dry blood spot test is so valuable.
Exactly. However, when you go to get your normal lab work done, it's often not really offered as an option in many labs because they're going to just, draw the vial of blood and then measure as many of the things as they can through that one sample. So we have the balance test, which is one of our dry blood spot tests. We have a vitamin D test, and we also have an HbA1c test. So this is going to measure your long-term blood sugar levels. Obviously, if you're paying attention to what's going on in health and wellness right now, you know how many people are pre-diabetic. They're showing those signs of heading toward diabetes and they don't know yet. So it's important to, of course, measure it and test it.
And also, Heather, while you're kind of opening up that test kit right there, you're going to hear a lot about your blood sugar and blood sugar spikes and cortisol when you're listening to people talk about perimenopause and menopause, because those two buzzwords are I cannot scroll a quarter of a page without somebody talking to me about perimenopause and menopause and all of those things. And so when you look at glucose in your body and blood sugar spikes, we're really talking about something that if you're trying to get a hold on how your symptomology, how you're feeling, whether it's brain fog, whether it's hot flashes, whether it's energy, one of the things that the medical community and all of us health professionals are looking at is this HbA1c. It is those glucose blood spikes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's such an important thing to know and to measure, and I'm always surprised how many people have never even had that done. So, open up the box, you've got your little instruction book right here that's going to walk you through the whole process. There's also a video online. But little unboxing of this for you. So the first thing that you get is this bag. It is the blood sample return bag. It has a little silicant package in there to keep the sample fresh. You don't want to remove that. So I usually just kind of open this up and set this aside. You're going to get your envelope to mail your sample back. And my favorite part of this is it says no postage required if mailed in the United States. I never have stamps. And then you've got a couple things. First is your testing sleeve. Okay, so this is where the sample is going to live to get sent back for analyzation. And you've got this anonymous code. And so this is what's really important. You know, I get a lot of questions, people saying, where does my blood sample go? And are they holding on to it? And the answer is, where does it go? It goes to Vitas Lab. It's an analytical lab in Oslo, Norway. They are the world leader in dry blood spot testing. They've performed more dry blood spot tests than any lab globally of all the labs. They partner with Harvard, Max Planck, King's College, really esteemed institutions. They are not affiliated with Enzino, okay? So it's a third-party lab, and they're not collecting your data. The only data that they are going to have is this anonymous code. And that is so you can go online and access your results once they're ready. When you buy this, when this gets shipped to you, they don't know that this specific test is going right to you. It's completely anonymous. They don't know if it's your first test or your 10th test. So I always tell people when you get this card, you want to take a picture of it because if you lose this, you can't get your test results. This is the only way you're tied to it. So take a picture of it and you've got your little card here. The drops of blood are going to go in these two circles, and I'm going to show you how easy it is.
And yeah, we actually did that. So I had a networking event last week and I spoke and I was talking about the biomarker that no one's testing for. And I had someone come up and she's like, I'm interested in finding out what my number is. So we were able just to test her right on the spot. It is super simple. You have an alcohol wipe right there. Heather is just trying to ensure she gets some blood down toward the end of her fingers so it
Flowing.
comes out easily. If you have long nails like these suckers, it is a little more difficult to drip your blood out, but basically, they give you this little push down needle after you've moved your hands around. Yep, it's protected. And then you just squeeze that onto the end of your finger and you squeeze and drip the blood onto the card. Super easy, simple, easy peasy. And again, you can do this on the go. You can do this at home. You do not have to make an appointment at a lab to have these things done. Again, why is it not done? Well, think about it. The fact that blood work is run pretty routinely, that's a whole industry in and of itself. So the places like the Quest Diagnostics and the other labs that are out there, they need to have processes and systems built in so that they can just move people through so that the lag time from the time your doctor orders your blood work, especially for an acute situation versus, your yearly physical, that lag time is kind of shortened up. Remember, the medical system is a business, and that's still a kind of a difficult place. I think that a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so Heather's not fanning herself right there. She's just, you want to make sure that that blood is dry before you put it back in the card. We don't want to contaminate it. We don't want it to smear. They say about 5 to 7 minutes. And then you simply slide it back in the envelope.
Yeah. So I'm not going to do this now because like Danielle said, don't want to contaminate it. But when I'm ready, I'm going to slide this back in here. I'm going to open up my sample return bag. Again, you're going to want to leave that little silicone packet right in there. I would then put the whole test inside, seal it on up, put it in my envelope, and drop it right in the mailbox. Now, if you want to get an alert when your test is ready, you can go to zinzinotest.com and register this code. You can put in an email address. You can put in a phone number if you want a text alert. Again, some people do, some people don't because they want it to be completely anonymous. But otherwise, you just go back in about 15 to 20 days. You log into zinzinotest.com, type this code in, and you are going to get a really clear, simple, actionable report about what is going on in your body that you can then use to personalize your supplement routine. And of course, the most important part is you can test again 4 months later, right? Everything takes about 120 days to really do its work in the red blood cell. So you will test again in 120 days to see your improvement. And again, that's what's really different about Senzino. Some companies do offer before testing, but they're not offering that after test. And the answer is because they're just not confident that their products are going to deliver the results that they say they're going to do.
Yeah,
So,
you see a lot of options for baseline testing, guys, but you're not finding a company who is like, hey, let me come retest you. Now, to be fair, the company is not providing you a second HbA1c test for free like they do when it comes to the balance test. And that's fine, right? Not everybody needs to test that often. What happens when you get this report is you're actually getting not just a 3 month blood sugar average, because you are getting an average over those past 3 months for actually before for what your blood sugar has been, which is a really great guiding principle. But it's going to break it down and kind of show you what those everyday habits are. Like it's going to talk to you about eating, movement, stress, and sleep, and how it can affect your body. And the blood sugar can affect those areas and those things over time. So it is also pretty comprehensive. And again, that's something when I compared the cost of this test, this at-home dry blood spot test, to running a lab at like Quest out of pocket, not going through insurance. Very reasonable, very comparable. Some of our tests are less expensive, some are right on par. So again, you don't have to wait to go to your medical provider to check wellness. My doctor's office is not for wellness, in my opinion. My doctor's office is for when I am ill. My wellness is my business, it is my responsibility. And you're seeing the introduction of all of these wearables, these glucose monitors, I take this lumen constantly to see what I'm doing, if I'm burning fats or carbs, because I'm trying to learn more about how my blood sugar is affecting my body and my weight. And so this is another tool that you can have at your fingertips and not just relying on a medical professional.
Absolutely. It's a great one. So we'll have to pop back in about 2 to 3 weeks and
See what your
share
result is, Heather.
share my results because I have not done this test yet. I've done about 20 balance tests because I love to watch that number go down, 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 but I have not done this one yet. So glad I got to do it with you and the rest of your community.
That's awesome. I'm super excited. Thank you. And thanks again for being here with
Thanks
us. So
for having me. We'll talk soon.
thanks.
Bye, everybody.